So, most common first-time homebuyer questions and topics. Number one, what are the upfront costs buying your first home? So typically, you need to have your funds for your earnest money deposit and for any inspections or appraisals. Also want to have the total cash to close funds ready. So if you're putting 5% down, you should have those plus your closing costs and prepaids available, right? But you don't need those funds right up front. Right up front, you typically provide an earnest money deposit. It could be 1% of the purchase price. So if it's an $800,000 home, it might be an $8,000 earnest money deposit. And that's to hold the home so you don't. So it's basically you're letting the seller know that you're serious. Protects them, kind of gets you in the door. Now, if something were to go wrong, right? If you get an inspection done and you find out there's some problem with the home, you have contingencies typically within the contract that'll protect you so that you can get out of contract and get your earnest money deposit back. But if you paid for the inspection or paid for the appraisal, you're not going to get that back. Those are services that were provided, you paid for them. So you have to use your due diligence when you're getting into the process of buying that first house. Another question I get quite a bit is, do I have to have been working with my employer for 2 years in order to qualify for a loan? That question is, there's so many ways to answer that question because there's so many different loan programs. But I will tell you this, on average, my buyers have probably not been with their current employer for 2 years. Have they been in the same line of work for 2 years? Yes. We look at that as being the most important thing. But changing jobs, that's common. People change jobs all the time. You could have changed your job last month and you don't even have your first paycheck and you could be buying a home. That's okay. If it's in the same line of work and if your income is going up, that is perfect. Where we run into an issue is when someone has just started in that line of work or that changed what they're doing completely. Well, that's risky. So we need a little bit more duration with the employment. First-time homebuyers that are just getting out of college and have only been working for like a year, they can buy as long as we provide transcripts or proof that they were in college. So there's all these little ways to make it work as long as it makes sense. If it makes sense, in most cases, you can buy a home. Also, buying that first home, when is your down payment due? Well, it depends on the type of home you're buying. If you're buying a resale home, a home that's already existing, you typically go into contract for 30 days. And right when you go into contract, you provide the earnest money deposit. The remaining funds, which in total, your total cash to close would be your down payment, closing costs, and prepaids. Those are all due right near closing. So if it's a 30-day escrow, it might be day 25, day 27 that you're bringing in the rest of the funds, the remaining funds. And you normally bring that in to the title company when you sign your loan documents. You'll bring them a cashier's check, or you'll go to your bank and wire the funds to escrow. But that's how you get those final funds to close. So, first-time home buyer, what are contingencies? Contingencies are there to protect you in most cases. So, loan contingency, appraisal contingency, inspection contingency, they're to cover you so that if you uncover something that's not good for you, that you can still exit and get out of the contract. You're not stuck buying the home that has issues. Last year, a couple years ago, very competitive market. A lot of people were waiving appraisal contingencies just to be able to get their offers accepted, and we're not going to see that right now. But they're also waiving others like inspection contingencies as well. And the problem with that is you may have bought a home that has some issues you didn't know about, and you would have found out about it if you had an inspection. You didn't have an inspection. You didn't have an inspection contingency. So it's important to have a high quality real estate agent helping you with the purchase process and making sure that you have contingencies to protect you. You don't want to find this out the hard way. So first time home buyer, and we're talking and you say, I don't want you to pull my credit. My thoughts on that is, why not? What's wrong? What's going on there? Is there something that you're afraid of? Is there a possible issue? Because the way I look at it is so different from the way you might look at it. You might look at it as, oh, he's gonna pull my credit, my score is gonna drop. I get that. The way I look at it is, when I have the credit report in front of me, with the tools that I have to help increase the credit score, like my simulator, like my rapid rescore, that is so much more powerful than you hoping you can get your score up or doing what you think might get the score up. When I have the credit report in front of me, I can help someone get their score up if that's what the concern is. So the sooner I have access to that, the better. It's not the other way around. When someone wants to fix their credit first and then have me run their application, no, don't do that. No. Let me help you, because whatever you think you're doing to fix your credit might not be fixing your credit. Why wouldn't you use the person who looks at credit all the time and deals with credit all the time and has the tools, have him help you, especially because he's not charging you for the help. There's no charge for that. That's just something that we do while we're doing the purchase process. That's included in our services. It's a freebie. So if you're holding back on letting a trusted lender pull your credit, work with them, give them what they need. Okay, first-time homebuyer. Question is, who pays my realtor? So if you're a buyer, in general, you're not paying the real estate agent. In almost all cases, the real estate agent's paid by the seller. And so it's good to have an agent that knows the area and is super experienced with getting new buyers into contract. If it's just an agent that you know of, that you met, that you go to church or you go to school or your friend works with or whatever, but you don't necessarily know their track record as a buyer's agent, then I would seriously look at that. And you shouldn't feel bad for that. If you're hiring a real estate agent to help you buy a home, how many other buyers have they helped buy homes in the last 12 months? You should know this. They should be able to tell you. You should be able to look it up and look at the reviews. So any real estate agent that's doing a great job getting their buyers into contract, they have a process that they follow. It works. We see it when we're doing the loans. And so for lenders, we know buyer's agents that are getting it done. And so when a client is dealing with me and they say, hey, do you know a good buyer's agent? Of course I do. Yes, I have a great buyer's agent that can help you out, right? What's tricky is when my clients, unfortunately, sometimes use an agent that just doesn't know what they're doing. Unfortunately, that agent sometimes is just kind of getting in the way, and you don't want to have that. So be very careful when you're selecting your real estate agent. And, it doesn't hurt to ask your local lender who they recommend as a real estate agent in the area.